explain here or to kind of like do justice for these problems is to really make sure you understand like there's three functions that I see that are going on here. Y equals x, y equals x squared, and y equals the absolute value of x. All right. And these, and obviously you have the constant function, but that's like fairly basic here. Okay, these are going to be your parent functions. And when you're graphing functions, okay, you need to understand these parent functions. And then also what you want to do is understand the transformations. So in this case, you would have y times an a times f of, do we have any crazy ones? No, okay. So x minus, let's say it was c and plus d, okay? All right, now that's all the transformation that we have basically going on here. You do have a constant function of y is equal to c, right? Which is going to be this one as well. And let's say, you know, there's c right here. Okay. So that's going to be your constant function. So the main thing I want you to understand though, is there's something that's happening here. So we have my a and d. So a, c, and d are real numbers. Okay. Those are real numbers. Something I want you to understand here. The a and the d are what we call outside of the function. The c, and sometimes we have a b, that'd be inside, that'd be multiplying by the inside. That is going to be considered inside of the function, okay? So what we need to understand here is there's a difference also between these two functions outside. Notice how a is being multiplied. And actually, do we have a b? No, we don't. Okay, a is being multiplied and b is being added, okay? So the difference is when you have multiplication, that is going to be a stretch or compression, which we don't have here. It's also can be a reflection. Now, anything that is outside, okay, is going to be what we call a vertical transformation. So if you have a reflection that is vertical, it's going to be a reflection about the x-axis. If you have a shift that is vertical, that's going to be up or down. So when it's plus d, that means it's moving up. If it's minus d, that means it's moving down. Now, when something's inside, that's going to be what we call a horizontal transformation. So anything that's inside the parentheses or inside the absolute value or under the square root or inside or part of the exponent, like an exponential function, like all these kind of crazy different ways we can, you know, kind of look at different functions. But anything that's going to be inside is going to be horizontal. Now, the kind of crazy thing about inside is if you do have a negative, which in this case we don't, an inside reflection would be a reflection of the y-axis. You do have a horizontal stretch and compression. But the notice thing here, I want you to notice here, this is x minus c, right? It's the opposite of c. So a lot of times students will get confused because they see like x minus 5 and they think, oh, that's going to be shifting to the left 5. And that's actually to the opposite direction. It's actually 5 units to the right. All right. So you can easily, it's really much easier to understand this and explain it when you look at these like by graph and actually you look at like plotting points in the table. We don't have time for that. And I don't really know what the student is struggling with. So hopefully this brief little like review is giving some helpful tips of understanding from these. So like for instance, this is minus 5. So that means that's going to be a right 5. This is a plus 4. It's outside the function. So that's going to be an up 4. Okay. Here's multiplying by negative. So therefore this is going to be a reflect that's outside of the function. So that's going to be reflect the x-axis. Now, when you're dealing with linear equations, that's going to be kind of confusing here because this technically could be inside or outside the function. So either one of those would actually work. The constant function is just equal to, it's just going to be a horizontal line equal to whatever that value is. But yeah, so sometimes dealing with the transformation, I think with odd functions is kind of a little difficult because you could actually go either way. You could actually shift this to the right 6 or you could go down 6. They're actually both of them could be considered true, I guess, right? But I guess assumed. I don't think about dealing with